Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. In this one here I'm going to be talking to you about my ultimate solo lawn care setup and all the machines that I have. And as you can see, if you want to just kind of pan around, you can see that there's plenty of tools and toys here that I use in my business. And so I'm going to get into it and go through each one of them and show you what I got. So the first one here we got is a WEIBANG 18-inch. This has a 159cc engine. It's a steel deck and it's got the single height adjustment and good solid rib, kind of good solid handlebars on it. But it's really handy for the smaller lawns that are between like kind of tight alleyways. People normally leave their bins out and things like that. So trying to get bigger machines through, this is one that I use for those easy, convenient lawns. Next one on I have here is my FLYMO cover mower. Now this one here I've had for probably about maybe, I'm trying to think, is about maybe 4 or 5 years. It's an older model, but it runs pretty well. It's a 2-stroke, it's the FLYMO L470, and it's really handy on long grass, on banks and things like that, where you can't normally get to with a lawnmower conventionally if you want. So next on over here we have my chainsaws. I've got my OLEO-MAC GS650, and this one here has a 24-inch bar on it. So it's a nice, brave, big machine, but that thing there does not blink a single bit, tackling some of the bigger jobs. This one here, this is my OLEO-MAC GST250 with a 10-inch bar on it, and it's a top handle chainsaw. Now that there is a fantastic machine, one of my favorite in the whole setup, because whenever I'm topping the hedges, bringing it down, and the hedge cutters gets through the thickest stuff that it can go through, this here takes all those little thicker branches that are closer, easier to handle than trying to take out a big beast to cut like a 3-inch branch. So as you can see, I've got my OLEO-MAC chainsaw gloves, trousers. I got my helmet. Now those are the new ones, and I've got a, what do you call it, a jacket ordered, and the chainsaw boots and all to go with it. So on to the next bit, we've got my backpack blower, which is the OLEO-MAC BV162. This is a 65cc backpack blower, and it is really comfortable, but boy does it have a bit of power in it for just your kind of standard backpack blower. And I love it. It's really powerful, but even then, we'll get to the BV900 in a minute. That thing there is strong and powerful, but that one there is an animal. So next up then is my handheld, the BV300 handheld blower. It's a 30cc handheld blower, and I am finding, I had a question asked me by Brian Ring in his channel. He was saying to me this year, was I using the backpack blower or the handheld blower more? So on the small regular jobs where you've only got a little bit of blowing to do, it's the handheld blower every time. It's the one machine that comes out on every single lawn job. And then for the ones that are bigger and there's a bit more fatigue, then I go to the 162. If the jobs are really big and there's a lot of debris, then I come to the BV900. Now this animal here has a 77cc engine, and boy, if you aren't used to your arms aching on a job, you better get used to it on this one, because it's a real powerful machine. I mean, like, all you have to do is just look at the size of the handle, and it's got a directional flow tip on it, and there's another tip that goes on the chute as well. But it's a real good powerful machine. So next over then I have my long reach hedge cutters, which is the the BC240 HL, and it's got a 22cc engine. I don't know why, for some reason I used to think it was a 24cc, but it's actually a 22cc engine. Nice big thick shaft. I'd say that's probably about a 26mm shaft on her, and then look at the size of the gearbox on this thing. This thing here I have put through its paces, and it's cut up to, I think, just over 2 inches of 2-inch branches on it. And it's just like, now I wouldn't recommend that you do that as a regular kind of operation on hedges, but for trying to see what this machine was capable of, it handled it no problem. It took a little bit longer, and then that's where the GST 250 comes in really handy whenever I'm getting into that thicker branch for just quick and easy jobs. So next on over then, I have my multi-tool, which is the OLEO-MAC BC300 engine on it again. Now this is a 30cc engine, and as you can see, I've got the hedge cutter attachment on it that comes down to there, so it's shorter. And if you want to just bring that down there, Mark, you can see that it brings it down shorter than the long reach hedge cutter, but at the same time it gives me a bit of flexibility to be able to get a little bit more reach than a 24-inch handle. So that's the hedge cutter attachment. So and it also comes with the chainsaw pruner attachment, and that comes again with a 26mm shaft on it. So that's real handy. Now those were the couple of heads that I was waiting on coming in: the hedge cutter, the pruner attachment, and there's the extension bar, and I've got 2 of those, so as I can get a little bit of extra height should I need it. Now in addition to those heads, I've also got a blower head attachment for the multi-tool. So I know I'm kind of coming down with 2 backpack blowers, a handheld blower, and then also an attachment for the multi-tool. But that'll all makes life just so much more easier. And as you know, watching any of my videos, that I'm all about working smarter, not harder, and having the right tool for the right job just makes life so much more easier. So the next one is a real treat. This is my OLEO-MAC SP126 backpack sprayer, and it comes with a 26cc engine on it, and this is a real handy machine on the jobs. So next one over then, we're looking at my roller mower. This is the WEIBANG 24-inch roller mower. Now just for clarity's sake, it's a 24-inch deck, but it comes with a 22-inch blade on it. Now this thing here has a split roller. If you want to come around the back here, it has a split roller for making it easy, turning on the spot like that. But this thing here is an absolute animal, and I kind of refer to it as being like part of the German 5th Panzer Division, because when I'm out on the jobs, this gives a real nice high detailed finish and stripe to the lawns that I'm doing. So again, it comes with like anti-vibrational kind of arms on it for the handles. Really strong, rigid, and it's just really well balanced. Now although it's big and heavy, I like having my handlebars down low, and the reason for this is because it's easier, rather than kind of pushing up down to get the angle on the weight. It's just a nice easy kind of turnabout on a machine. So this brings me then to my everyday workhorse. This is the one that I use on probably 80% of the lawns that I use. This is the 22-inch shaft drive. This is an alloy deck shaft drive WEIBANG lawnmower, and this one here comes with a 196cc engine on it. It's a launching engine, and it just powers through really long grass, no problems whatsoever. It bags like no man's business as well. Just before I forget, actually with the roller, this one comes with the Briggs & Stratton 850 IC series, so it's a 190cc engine on it. And then back to the shaft drive. This is so easy. Now this one here comes with a blade clutch system, or a rotary stop. So what it is I can, on the rest of them here, I wouldn't start the other lawnmowers because I'm standing on gravel, but with the likes of this one here, this isn't running the blade, so whenever I want to just makes it easier. You know, you're not having to do this repetitive kind of motion all the time with pulling the cord and starting the engine. As again, I've said to you guys before, it's all about working smarter, not harder. And with the likes of that there, it makes it easier not having to be doing a repetitive strain on my arms and shoulders. Not only that, but there's a couple of jobs I have where I'm pushing the lawnmowers through really thick gravel and stones. And with the blade machine, obviously you wouldn't run the blades over it, so with the clutch system I'm able to drive the machine over without kind of tiring myself out pushing it along or pulling it through the stones. Again, there's a couple more jobs that I have where I'm going up hills, and so again, because I'm coming through a driveway, I don't like running the blade in case it clips a stone and it takes a chunk out of the side of someone's car. So the likes of this here makes it easier to push it up the hill, pulling itself, and I'm not tiring myself out kind of dragging around the machine on every single job. So on then from that, we're coming over to the ride-on mower. This is my OLEO-MAC 105/24kh. This is a 42-inch deck mower with a 24 horse V-twin launching engine in it. It's really powerful on the jobs that I do. I cut some grasses where I only do maybe once a month, and this does not have any problem whatsoever handling that kind of thick grass at all. So, and I really like the colors of the dark grey with the orange and the lights, and it really just pops now. You know, it works well with the business, but it also looks the part as well, which I'm all about for marketing purposes, of trying to get attention for people to look at me or my business or my logo, the website or anything like that, and that all adds towards it. So that there, you know, is a fantastic machine, which I'm really impressed with. Then I have my two kind of go-to strimmers that I use on a daily basis. I have my BC240. This is a 22cc strimmer, and as you can see on the trailer, I've got a purpose-built, custom-built strimmer rack system, so that I can get a little bit of attention as I'm driving down the road, but also too it's functional for the business as well. So that's nice and light. I like using this one here because it goes to, whenever I'm on those jobs that are just really quick and easy, they're well maintained, I don't need a big heavy strimmer to do it. You take this off nice and light, and it's just less fatigue going from one job to the next. So that's my 22cc strimmer. And then I have my, this here is my, heads off. This here is the BC300, and this is a 30cc brush cutter or strimmer. As you can see, this one gets a lot of dirt on it because there's just a lot of jobs that I get where it really needs to take it down from really long grass. Now I do have a 47cc ordered, but what I really like about this one here is that it comes with the loop handle. Now some of the work that I do, as you've seen in some of my videos, I do some work on banks, and this just makes it really comfortable, that whenever I'm trying to get a nice big swing on using the strimmer, is that I can hold the outside of the loop handle and it comes around nice and comfortably, as opposed to have to hold it just above the shaft. You're kind of reaching out yourself and straining this side of your body more, trying to get that extra reach, whereas even that couple of inches makes a huge amount of difference in how you get through the work. So after that then, so what you've got on the heads of the strimmers is I have the OLEO-MAC Load and Go. Now this one here comes with a metal bump feed on it, so I haven't put this one on yet because the other ones have been working just great, whereas I'm going to put this one on and give it a good bit of a go and see how well it holds up, you know, on the day-to-day work, and see if it actually lasts longer than the wear on a normal plastic bump head on the strimmers. So what I'm using then for my strimmer line is I'm using the VORTEX 3mm line, and this stuff here is made in the States, and it's really flexible. Now, I've used other strimmer line before, and this is the first year that I'm using this stuff, but I've used other strimmer line in the past before, where as soon as you hit something that's a bit rough, whether it's a stone or a bit of concrete or a wall, you know, it just disintegrates really quick. Whereas this stuff here is kind of a bit more of it's a nylon string, so it's kind of got a little bit more flex than some strimmer line. And so what I found is that with going through some rough stuff, sometimes that the strimmer line will kind of bounce a little bit more. So it's got a little bit more flexibility. It doesn't disintegrate upon impact, but it's got a little bit more strength. So I've been using that, and I've had that since March, and that's all I've used of the spools so far. You know, so it's getting through a fair bit amount of work, but I'm not going through the strimmer line like it's no man's business either. Excuse me. So then what I'm using for my oil is I'm using the OLEO-MAC PROSINT special oil 2-stroke, and that stuff there, I've been using that this year as well with the OLEO-MAC machines. Compared to the oil that I used last year, the year before, this is actually just a little bit less smoky is what I'm noticing, that whenever I'm starting up the machines there's not as much smoke. Now, it's not down to my mixing. I've always mixed accurately. I've used measuring bottles and things like that as well, but just what I've noticed using that stuff there, it's a little bit less smoky. Right, so I'm going to show you a bit about the trailer and why I have it built up the way it was. Now, this was a custom build that I worked with MCM trailers based in Dungiven in Northern Ireland here. And what I did was I always wanted my business to be different. I wanted it to look different. You guys know from the different topics that we've talked about, talking about logos for the business, talking about website, signage on the vans, even just how your equipment looks or the kind of results you get with your work. How all of that adds to the profile of your business. And with the trailer here, I always knew that I would love to work toward eventually having a trailer that was kind of like American inspired, but obviously we don't have the exact same kind of things as what guys in America have. So with here, what I asked them to do was I asked them to build me a strimmer rack. Now, it took a couple of goes, but we kind of came up with this design in the end. It's very simple. So as you can see, I've got my strimmer on there, and for the likes of here, the way the angle of this works, so it's very simple. As you can see, the way the shaft just drops on there like that, and then bring it over here to see where the handle comes on, and then drop it down, and that's it. Now, if you just look at it over here, if someone was to try and take it, it can't, you know, it would take a lot of force. You'd probably break the machine in order to do it. And then over here, just a simple locking mechanism. The handle comes around. Now, I do have to put a little bit of insulation foam just to try and pack it out a little bit more, but then put the padlock on, and that's it there. It's secure. Now, you might say, right, well, a padlock would keep an honest man out. That's absolutely true, but the same from what you'd have in your van. It's just as easy for someone to try and break into your van if they know what they're doing as it would be to take this off and try and rob it. So I'm never too far away from the van with the types of jobs that I do, so it works to my advantage to be able to have it all kind of functional like this on the job. The second part of it is that how this looks out on the road is that customers can see something different. It catches their eye, and so it looks different having the strimmers on the side. And the amount of times that I've been driving down the road and I've seen people turn around and look. Now, what the draw of this is that when they look at this part of the trailer, they naturally gravitate over to the van and catch a view of my logo or my website or my mobile number. So although it looks kind of like, well, that looks very well, there is a method to the madness, if you want, as to why I've gone to such extremes with the business to try and stand out from everybody else, because it is a very competitive market that we're in. So another feature with the trailer is that I asked them to build this drop down ramp for me, so that if I'm out on jobs where I've got my ride-on mower and I've got my lawnmower and I want to be able to get at one or the other and I don't want to unload the other, then this is easy enough where I can drop the tail ramp to get the ride-on mower off, or I can drop this ramp to be able to load and unload my lawnmower. So it just makes it easier. And then again, if I'm on other jobs, what I can do as well is I can have the lawnmower stored at the front with all the bags of the grass clippings or hedge clippings and things like that. And when I get to the dump, all I have to do is drop the tail ramp. I don't have to unload my lawnmower, and I can just get the stuff easy enough. So there's a real functionality as to why I've gone to this kind of length with the trailer. But it sure does look the business in my book anyway. So I asked them to also put this toolbox on the front of the trailer so that I could have a bit of storage for the likes of the straps, or if I've got some of the bags. So I've got these one ton capacity bags for taking away grass cuttings and things like that as well. Now, there is another feature to the trailer which might not be so obvious, and that's the fact that the mesh sides can all come off. And then this bit here, I can take the tail ramp off and I can put this tailgate on so that I've got a nice low access if I was looking to bring any soil or gravel or things like that. So, and that comes standard on a lot of the trailers anyway. And I have my Bluetooth headset, so whenever I'm out on the jobs, ear defenders, Bluetooth microphone built in, and this allows me to listen to my music and also allows me to take the phone calls as the work is coming in as a result of this whole setup, you know. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to have a look, check out my lawn care setup, and this is all of it here, and this is the 2017 setup, and I'll see you in the 2018 setup when I've got new machines coming with all new colors and looking a little bit more noticeable again. Alright guys, thanks very much. See you in the next one.
I'm